Well, the Eagles have a new weapon in town. In fact, a future Hall of Famer joining the Birds. But does he have anything left in the tank? Also, the Eagles play caller made some very interesting comments as to why the Birds did not run the ball more in Sunday's loss to the Jets. We'll break all of it down and more here on the show. What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into A to Z Philly. You know the drill. Hit the like button on the show if you enjoy the content. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell. Don't miss any of the coverage. Tough loss this past week, but hopefully the Birds can bounce back. It's obviously going to be a very tough matchup this upcoming week, but we will be breaking all of it down. In the meantime, though, the Eagles went out and made a random signing yesterday. Will it actually pay dividends? We'll talk about that and a whole bunch more. But before we do that, a shout out to our sponsor of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Download the app right now. Sign up with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. All right, let's jump into it. So out of nowhere, out of the blue yesterday, Howie Roseman goes out and he does it again. The Eagles sign Julio Jones, 34 years old, to the practice squad with the intention of promoting him to the 53-man roster. In addition to that, they are also bringing back Josiah Scott to the practice squad and likely replacing Mario Goodrich, who was waived as another slot. Now, we'll start off with Josiah Scott, right? He's been around the block, nothing special, probably going to, get some time at slot corner. The Eagles still very shaky there, still do not have a lot of confidence in anybody, so just bringing back another body, and that's kind of how I see Josiah Scott being played out, but I'm not really a big fan of him. We'll see if he's improved at all. That's where they're at with slot corner. But really the big news here is Julio Jones. And what I think happened is Howie Roseman sat here. He's already seeing, a lack of utilization with some of these weapons. And he's also sick and tired of, outside of AJ and Devontae, the other receivers not really doing much. Now, I will say Olamide Zaccheaus looked pretty good in the limited action that he got, right, in some of the limited snaps when Quez Watkins was out. But now Quez back on the injury list, and yeah, I think the Eagles are just very shaky there, and they're like, all right, can we go out and get another power-like weapon? Can we go out and also get another guy that maybe could help the Eagles with their red zone troubles? And they go get Julio Jones, who is a future Hall of Famer, a guy who's probably going to be a really good locker room presence as well, given his experience. Another Alabama guy, right? The Eagles are all Bulldogs on defense, but now it's like everybody on the offensive side is coming from Alabama. So, how we going out and addressing this obviously doesn't really matter that much, at his age, where he's at in his career. But, for a guy that hasn't played this year and, maybe still trying to extend his career a bit, I think the Eagles are actually a great spot. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just trying to find a little bit of optimism here after such a brutal, miserable loss. But I actually think Julio may be a sneaky weapon. Could he actually end up as wide receiver 3 at one point? Let me know your thoughts down below. Julio talked to the Philadelphia media today, and he said, quote, "Philly is an amazing place. The people here, the fans here." He was there in that playoff game, the first one en route to a Super Bowl title, where the Eagles had to essentially stop the Falcons on the last play. Nice defense by Jalen Mills. And that was just a cold, wicked night, and the Eagles end up doing it. They end up blowing out Minnesota. They win the Super Bowl. Julio was there. He experienced what that atmosphere was like in full effect. And he said last night in the sports complex, it took him 20 to 30 minutes just to go 1.5 miles with baseball, soccer, and hockey in Philly. And I was there. I was there. I drove to Philly as well, went to the Phillies game. And like he says here, it was crazy. Philly does a great job with their fan base. It was absolutely nuts. I've never seen anything like it. It took me 45 minutes just to get in the parking lot. It was insane. So he is absolutely correct on that, and he's already feeling it. Julio today was asked about, how much he has left in the tank. Can he still play by Dave Zangaro? And here's what he said, quote, Don't get it twisted. I'm here to dominate. How much does he have left in the tank? Quote, watch and find out. Dude, I love that swagger. I love that confidence. But what else can you expect from a guy who has done it at such a high level over the years? Does he have anything left? I really feel like Julio can be a positive impact on this team, even if he's just a locker room presence, but I think he can be more. And what I mean is I don't think he's going to get a high volume of snaps or touches or catches. I don't think Julio Jones is going to see the ball much, but I really feel like in the red zone, obviously the Eagles have gotten way too cute, way too quirky, but now they have a guy who I really feel can just go up on a goal line fade and just bring one down. I'm not saying AJ Devontae can't do that. AJ can literally do anything on the field, and Devontae's very swift with, his movements and his toe taps, all that. But Julio's just a guy, maybe you can throw him out there, right? Not use him too much, but all right, Julio, go up and get one against another undersized corner. And I really feel like he can do that still. Maybe I'm crazy. Let me know. Julio Jones's career stats, as you can see, spent 10 years with the Falcons, then with the Titans, Tampa Bay. His usage has gone down, but, look at his years in Atlanta. I mean, every year he had 1,000 yards, and one year he played 5 games, had 580 yards. This rookie year, he had 960 yards in 13 games. And of course, he's getting older, his body's going to break down. And he only played 9 games his last year with the Falcons, and he had 770 yards. Then he played 10 games with Tennessee, 430, and then 10 with Tampa Bay, 300 yards. I just think coming to an environment like this, especially with a team who's trying to win now, like I said, your environment kind of masks some of your deficiencies sometimes. And just being here, where he's not going to be looked at as one of the top options, maybe he still could have some left in the tank. I'm excited, to bring him in, especially with the way he's talking already. So give me your thoughts on Julio. Again, it's only if he's going to be utilized correctly. And speaking of which, that brings us to our other culprit here, Brian Johnson. No, I don't think he's on the hot seat, but man, he has been frustrating. And he doubled down on his decision not to run the ball a lot against the Jets. Obviously, the Eagles, a disappointing loss, but they ran the ball threw the ball 45 times, and they only ran it 22 against a team who was 29th against the run on defense. And, that's just inexcusable, right? They came in against 2 backup corners, and they thought they were going to throw, not really realizing that those monsters up front for the Jets were going to match you and, get the Jalen Hurts and make them scramble, etc. Then, Lane Johnson goes down. So Brian Johnson needs to stick to the run. And that's really, again, what I always say, this team is predicated on the run, and they can dominate and do it and open up the pass every single game. It's just if they choose to do it. And sometimes if Swift's not running the ball good in the first quarter, Brian tries to get away from that. But I was really, just not impressed with his comments. And here's what he had to say about that decision. Quote, yeah, that was fine. I think we have really good players at a bunch of different spots. And sometimes you look at some of these runs or some of these passes or extensions of the run game, when you start to add in some of the RPOs and bubbles and swing passes and things like that, it's just space touches. A lot of times those are extensions of the run game. Here's my issue though. My issue is that those things don't really work in this offense. They haven't worked that much. The swing passes, the little screens. I mean, at one time you sent Boston Scott in the flat on Sunday and you motioned AJ and it worked to perfection. Then there was no more pre-snap motion. I don't understand why you continue to make this offense so predictable, right? Those things haven't worked a lot. So why not stick with the run game, stick with what has helped got you here, and, continue to dominate in that aspect. It'll open up the entire offense, as we saw, right? In week 2, week 3, like the way DeAndre Swift was running, this team was unstoppable. And there's just a lot of extents where this Eagles team has not gone to yet in terms of using the weapons they have. Like I've said every week, like use all the tricks in your bag. And I feel like the Eagles have not done that. And it seems like Brian Johnson is perfectly okay with that. This team needs to go half and half at least. They need to balance it out. And they need to dominate because they can run the ball, especially when healthy, at least, with one of the best offensive lines every single week. So is Brian Johnson on the hot seat? Probably not yet, but he's going to have to correct a lot. He's going to have to figure it out because as you saw this past week, it caught up to you. The defense was banged up. They kept you in the game. They did enough to help you win, and it wasn't all on Brian Johnson. Jalen must be much better, but Brian Johnson has to put him in the right positions, and you see what a good coordinator can do. The Eagles reaped the benefits of that last year. So we'll see, I guess, how it plays out. But now you have another weapon to add in, maybe a little bit of Julio Jones here and there. Can the Birds figure it out? They need to find a way to get back on. But unfortunately, we'll talk about this game more in a couple days. They have a really tough test coming up on Sunday night. We'll see how it all plays out, though, man. Give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.